may be recorded or
districts,
transcribed.
agencies. So thank you very much, colleagues, for being on the line. Presiding myself is Seth Damon, Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. I did call the meeting to order. Ms. Ciavella, let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Honorable Elmer Begay.
Present here.
Honorable Elmer Begay. Answered roll call.
I'm present.
Honorable Keala Begay Jr.
Delegate Cal Begay is present. Thank you.
Honorable Keala Begay Jr. Answered roll call. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Let me see. Did you,
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown is present.
Honorable Nathaniel Brown answered roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer roll call. Honorable Amber Knasbach-Crotty. Honorable Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate
Delegate Brown is here.
Delegate Amber Knasbach-Crotty is calling in from Window Navajo Nation. Thank you.
Honorable Amber Knasbach-Crotty answered roll call. Honorable Speaker Damon.
Present.
Honorable Speaker Damon is present. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Mark Freeland.
Good morning, Freeland here. Thank you.
Honorable Mark Freeland answered roll call. Honorable Pernell Halona.
Here, thank you.
Honorable Pernell Halona answered roll call. Honorable Jamie Henyo.
Henyo is president. Thank you.
Honorable Jamie Henyo answered roll call. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick News is here.
Honorable Ricky Nez answered roll call. Honorable Carl Slater.
Delegate Slater Green are present.
Honorable Carl Slater answered roll call. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Present.
Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. answered roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So did not answer roll call. Honorable Daniel So.
Daniel So is present.
Honorable Daniel So answered roll call. Honorable Eugene So.
I'm here too. Thank you.
Honorable Eugene So answered roll call. Honorable Otto So.
I'm here.
Honorable Otto So answered roll call. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika did not answer roll call. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie did not answer roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not answer roll call. Going back up, Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton.
Charles Newton is present from Shiprock, New Mexico.
Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton answered roll call. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edison Wanika. Honorable Edison Wanika. Honorable Edison Wanika did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie did not answer. Roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair does not answer. Roll call. With that, Mr. Speaker, you have 16 members that answered roll call. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. 60 members answering roll call. Thank you very much. That, colleagues, moving on down. Honorable Brown, are you there?
Yes, Delegate Brown is here. Can you hear me?
Honorable Brown, mind doing the invocation for us this morning?
Yes. Shananta.
Oh, great.
I got there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm out there, Speaker at the 24th Navajo Nation Council. Peggy Shingo for the Shananta. Shitra Shadin, Shin for the Hana or the Ha Ashad Aya Ashaman Shatra. Could they, it's not done not long though, that's quite an action years in the waiting clinic, no car, the in the neck, Nabi Ho, the neck, the Nini. Other Christian could not dig in the neck, in Kinane, Gadokudo, Nika Doctor, Peggy, the Nebenat, the Bishop has only clinic, Ado Quaggy, Nikik A, and Handa, the Shadow, Ginanta, largest Dunny Counts, Dunny, Ado is a nod, is a nice any, but Chin Lenny, Quashi, his audition, cat teacher, not saying his of that the cat or did, based on backwind, and Lenny as it is under. Ngidene we change each other has never had to buy. I don't think it's so it's any nothing Lenny a question to get it clean or less or quaggy so. Ngidene fancy case quaggy she his the two choices eight Lenny the lead or less. Joy at a nothing that you non lead or less. The show question had it I don't care who in the see who didn't know quite non cut couldn't get the net a the cat or cat teacher, and the Craigie yard, not any cat or less. Craigie, his own or less, his own nasty, Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Chair. This is Herman Daniels Jr. calling in.
Great. Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Daniels. Thank you, Honorable Brown, for that invocation this morning. That, moving on down to item number 2 on the agenda, recognizing guests and visiting officials. With that, thank you to everybody being a part of today's conversation. I know that we had individuals listening in online from around the Navajo Nation and from around the world. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, Vimeo, or Facebook, thank you for listening in today. Any other recognized guests and visiting officials, colleagues?
Chairman, this is Thomas Walker. I'm calling in just to let you know. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Speaker, this is Delegate Yellow here. I called in too.
Hey, good morning. Honorable Brown?
Speaker. Yeah, this is Delegate Charlene, so calling in as well.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Brown.
Yes.
Go ahead. Was that you wanting to say something?
It was me, Speaker, Delegate Stewart.
Oh, okay, all right.
Good morning, Priscilla, and good morning, colleagues. I am letting you know that I'm calling in from Sawmill, and the special guest is our chapter president, who's here with me now, and the staff as well from Sawmill. Chapter president, Mr. Woody Bennett, and the staff, Angie and Lisa Marie, are also here as well. So just checking in, Speaker. Those are our special guests for today.
Oh, great, good. Welcome, everyone. Honorable Slater?
Thank you. It would be on the motion, not the announcement. Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, all right. With that, moving on down then, if there's no other recognized guests and visiting officials.
Speaker Damon, today.
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Heaney.
Good morning, Thomas Walker was going to make an announcement, then he was interrupted by the two delegates, so I was listening here. So it's Thomas Walker that wants to talk.
Okay, I thought you were just saying good morning, Honorable Walker, but did you need were you wanting to recognize somebody?
Actually, I had an announcement, Speaker.
According to the agenda, announcements are at the end of the meeting. That was what.
Okay. So good morning, everyone.
Okay, good morning, Honorable Walker, Vice Chair Walker. Good morning, everyone. Again, if there's no other recognizing guests and visiting officials, we can move on down. That, review and adopt the agenda. Swatero, if you could read into the record.
Mr. Speaker, members of the committee, navigate the committee of the 24th Navajo Nation Council special meeting via telecommunication in Window Rock, Navajo Nation, Tuesday, July 28, 2020. Proposed agenda, presiding chair, Honorable Seth Damon, Speaker, Navajo Nation Council. 1, call meeting to order, roll call, invocation. 2, recognize guests and visiting officials, 2-minute limit per delegate. 3, review and adopt the agenda. 4, review and adopt the journals, none. 5, receive reports, none. 6, old business day, legislation 0144-20. 7, new business, none. 8, close of meeting, announcements, adjournment. Mr. Speaker.
Okay, with that, colleagues, is there a
Motion,
motion?
Vice Chair. Motion, Vice Chair Smith.
Vice Chair Smith.
Second, Delegate James.
Is second by Honorable James. That, colleagues, any comments, questions, additions, deletions? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. We're board on accepting the agenda for today.
Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay did not vote. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr.
Vote green. Delegate Begay.
Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr.
Delegate Key Allen, we vote green for accepting the agenda. Thank you.
Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. did not vote. Honorable Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown votes green.
Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton.
Charles Newton votes green.
Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Amber Canuspah Crotty. Honorable Amber Canuspah Crotty. Honorable Amber Canuspah Crotty did not vote. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr.
I vote green.
Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Mark Freeland.
Freeland votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Mark Freeland votes green. Honorable Pernell Halona.
Delegate Halona votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Pernell Halona votes green. Honorable Jamie Henyo.
Henyo votes green.
Honorable Jamie Henyo votes green. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate
Honorable
James
Vince
votes
James.
green.
Honorable Vince James votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez votes green.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Carl Slater.
Delegate Slater green.
Honorable Carl Slater votes green. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Green.
Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr.
Green.
Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. votes green. Honorable Charlene So.
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Daniel So.
Daniel So votes green.
Honorable Daniel So votes green. Honorable Eugene So.
I vote
Honorable
green.
Eugene
Oh,
So.
yeah, thank you. I
Honorable
vote
Eugene
green.
So
Yeah,
votes
no,
green.
thank you.
Honorable Otto So.
I vote green.
Honorable Otto So votes green. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr.
Walker votes green.
Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. votes green. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika did not vote. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie did not vote. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair.
I vote green.
Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Going back up. Honorable Alma Begay.
I vote green.
Honorable Alma Begay votes green. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. did not vote. Honorable Amber Knusbach Crotty. Honorable Amber Knusbach Crotty. Honorable Amber Knusbach Crotty votes green. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika did not vote. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie did not vote. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika did not vote. With that, Mr. Speaker, you have a vote of 20 in favor and 0 opposed. Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, could I have 20 in favor, 0 opposed. Speaker not voting, or chair not voting on the motion. Motion carries. That moving on down, we do have an agenda before us. So, one is review and adopt the journals. There are none at this time. 5, receiving reports. There are none at this time. 6, colleagues, going on to old business. Legislation 0144-20, sponsored by my name, Chair Quaddy, co-sponsored by myself, Seth Damon, co-sponsored by Honorable Carl Slater as well. We do have a motion and we do have a second. Colleagues, on July 20th, 2020, time expired at the Navajo Nation Council Navigated Committee was in the process of hearing the second reading of the legislation 0144-20 after I called for the vote. So with that, colleagues, we're going straight to the second reading. Mr. Patero.
Mr. Speaker, members of the committee, amendment number 1, Page 4, line 23, increase the amount set forth by $30 million. Page 5, line 27, after college insert and non-tribal owned eligible telecommunication carriers, ETC. 3, replace existing Exhibit 5 with new Exhibit 5 provided by the Office of Legislative Counsel. 4, swap out the Ned College Memorandum of Exhibit 5 with new Ned College Memorandum dated July 14, 2020, which increases the amount by $2,076,842. 5, renumber or reletter succeeding paragraphs of sections according as necessary, and this amendment shall supersede the inconsistent language contained in any other community amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 2, 1, page 4, lines 6 and 7, strike $186,574,655 and insert the new amount as follows: $129,088,920. 2, Exhibit 3, page 1, section 1, strike $64,226,317 and insert new amount as follows: $129,088,920 and strike $291,907,869 and add new amount $387,627,966. 3, at the Sand Spring Water Supply Pipeline Project attached to Exhibit 3. 4, Exhibit 3, at new NTA Water and Wastewater Project listing dated July 11, 2020. 5, renumber or reletter succeeding paragraphs of sections according as necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services is noted to the sponsor of the legislation is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. You then have amendments. Page 1, line 16, after projects insert comma in healthcare facility projects. 2, page 4, line 30, insert new paragraph as follows: the purpose of the CARES Fund Healthcare Facilities Expenditure Plan attached to Exhibit 8 is to immediately provide $4,271,742 to ensure that adequate medical services are available to treat, mitigate, and respond to COVID-19 in the Navajo Nation's underserved communities. 3, page 5, line 29, insert new paragraph as follows: the Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for the Healthcare Facilities Expenditure Plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $4,271,742 and allocates the funding to the Canyocito Band of Navajo's Health Center, Inc. through the Department of Health for the respective purposes and amounts set forth in Exhibit B. 4, page 6, line 14, before the period, insert 8. 5, attached new Exhibit A as attached. 6, page 4, line 16, increase the amount set forth by $3,500,000. 7, increase the cumulative amount set forth in Exhibit 4, page 1, section 1, by $3,500,000. 8, add the REMA chapter Pine Hill Campus electrical deficiencies packet attached to Exhibit 4. 9, Exhibit 4, swap out NTA power line projects listing CARES Act funding request for power lines dated June 30, 2024, updated document dated July 18, 2020 with new amount $51,532,669. 10, Exhibit 4, page 1, section 1, strike $36,456,395 and insert new amount as follows: $39,870,832 and strike $158,325,161 and add new amount $153,514,756. 11, renumber reletter succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in the other committee amendment shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 4, 1, Exhibit 7, insert new Solid Waste Fund Management Plan, Office of Legislative Counsel, amended version. 2, swap out Navajo Nation Solid Waste Expenditure Plan with new 2-year breakdown totaling $22,223,000 for the first year and $19,512,787 for the extension years. 3, replace Excel spreadsheet attached to Exhibit 7 with what is attached here. 4, update cumulative amounts for the solid waste expenditure plan by $9,150,000. 5, Exhibit 7, page 1, section 1, add $8,550,000 for the first year and $600,000 for the extension years to the cumulative amount. 6, renumber letter succeeding paragraphs of sections accordingly. If necessary, this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in the other committee amendment, which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 5.1, page 1, line 6, after projects, insert the new Chamber of Commerce projects. 2, page 4, line 30, insert new paragraph as follows. The purpose of the CARES Fund, the new Chamber of Commerce attached to Exhibit 9, is to immediately provide $32,500,000 to the Diné Chamber of Commerce to provide economic support to primarily Navajo-owned businesses negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. 3, page 5, line 29, insert new paragraph as follows. The Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for the Chamber of Commerce expenditure plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $32,500,000 to allocate the funding to the Diné Chamber of Commerce through the Division of Economic Development as set forth in Exhibit 9. 4, page 6, line 14, before the period, insert 9. 5, insert new Exhibit 9 as attached. 6, renumber related succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. We then have Amendment 6.1, page 1, line 16, after projects, insert hardship assistance. 2, page 4, line 30, insert new paragraph as follows. The purpose of the CARES Fund hardship assistance expenditure plan attached to Exhibit 10 is to immediately provide $195 million to the Navajo Nation Executive Branch to provide emergency financial assistance to Navajo tribal members for purchasing personal protection equipment, paying past due utility bills, rent, mortgages, isolation expenses, livestock-related expenses, education-related expenses, and other financial burdens created by the COVID-19 pandemic and the public health emergency orders. 3, page 5, line 29, insert new paragraph as follows. The Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for the hardship assistance expenditure plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $195 million and allocates the funding to the Navajo Nation Executive Branch as set forth in Exhibit 10. 4, page 6, line 14, before the period, insert 10. 5, attached new Exhibit 10 as attached. 6, renumber related succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in either committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to sponsor the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 7. 1, increase the cumulative amount set forth on page 4, lines 6 and 7 by $58,416,175. 2, in Exhibit 3, page 1, section 1, strike $129,088,920 and insert new amount as follows: $187,505,095 and strike $387,627,966 and add new amount of $338,957,966. 3, Exhibit 3, add new Navajo Department of Water Resources infrastructure listing dated July 18, 2020 with the first year totaling $119,485,860.33 and NTUA Water and Wastewater CARES Act project proposal listing dated July 14, 2020 totaling $18,850,000 and adding new Navajo Nation cistern listing dated July 18, 2020 totaling $48,446,533. 4, renumber related succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly. If necessary, this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language contained in any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 8. 1, page 16, after projects, insert Parks and Recreation Economic Assistance. 2, insert Parks and Recreation Economic Assistance Expenditure Plan attached to Exhibit 11 on page 4, line 30, insert new paragraph as follows. The purpose of the CARES Fund Parks and Recreation Expenditure Plan attached to Exhibit 11 is to immediately provide $10,462,500 to mitigate the negative economic impacts caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and inflicted on Navajo businesses and communities serving the Navajo Nation's tribal parks. 4, page 5, line 29, insert new paragraph as follows. The Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for the Parks and Recreation Expenditure Plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $10,462,500 and allocates the funding to the Navajo Parks and Recreation Department as set forth in Exhibit 11. 5, page 6, line 14, after 5, insert 11. 6, increase any cumulative amount set forth in the legislation necessary to account for this amendment. 7, renumber or related succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language containing any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice of the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 9, 1, page 1, line 15, after power line project, insert solar project expenditure plan. 2, insert solar project expenditure plan attached to Exhibit 6 and attached documents from HEHSC. 3, on page 4, line 30, insert new paragraph as follows. The purpose of the CARES Fund Solar Projects Expenditure Plan attached to Exhibit 6 is to immediately provide $69,295,910 for the development and installation of solar projects within the exterior boundaries of the Navajo Nation as a means to immediately provide electricity to underserved communities and households and ensure there is access to electricity sufficient to comply with CDC COVID-19 prevention guidance and ensure that the mitigation of the spread of the pandemic. 4, page 5, line 29, insert new paragraph as follows. The Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for these solar projects expenditure plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $69,295,910 and allocates the funding to the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority and Native Renewables through the Division of Community Development as set forth in Exhibit 6. 5, page 6, line 14, after 5, insert 6. Increase any cumulative amounts in the legislation necessary to account for this amendment. 7, renumber or related succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language containing any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 10, 1, page 4, line 16, increase the amount set forth by $2 million. 2, at Navigated Committee, Amendment 3, amend Item 2 as follows. The purpose of the CARES Fund Healthcare Facility Expenditure Plan attached to Exhibit B is to immediately provide overstrike $4,271,472 in overstrike, $22,036,016 to ensure that adequate medical services are available to treat, mitigate, and respond to COVID-19 in the Navajo Nation's underserved communities. 3, at Navigated Committee, Amendment 3, amend Item 3 as follows. The Navajo Nation hereby approves and adopts total funding for the Healthcare Facilities Expenditure Plan from the Navajo Nation CARES Fund in the amount of $4,271,742 and allocates the funding to the Speacial Band of Navajo's Healthcare, Inc. and allocates $17,764,000 to the Pine Hill Healthcare through the Department of Health for the respective purposes and amounts set forth in Exhibit 8. 4, increase the cumulative total set forth in Exhibit 8, page 1, Section 1 by $17,764,000. 5, increase the cumulative total set forth in Exhibit 3, page 1, Section 1 by $8 million. $2 million will be for year 2020 and $6 million for the extension years. 6, add the 400 Albuquerque water supply line document totaling $8 million to Exhibit 3. 7, add the Pine Hill Health Center documents totaling $17,764,274 to Exhibit 8. 8, renumber or re-letter succeeding paragraphs or sections accordingly if necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language containing any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, notice to sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Amendment 11, 1, reduce the dollar amount of the hardship assistance expenditure plan by $26,038,241 in the legislation and the expenditure plan in Exhibit 10 so that the total amount allocated for hardship assistance is $168,961,759. 2, replace Exhibit 10 with attached expenditure plan. 3, adjust any cumulative amounts in the legislation necessary to account for this amendment. 4. Renumber or reletter succeeding paragraphs or sections according as necessary, and this amendment shall supersede inconsistent language containing any other committee amendment which shall be conformed to the intent or language of this amendment. The Office of Legislative Services, with notice to the sponsor of the legislation, is hereby authorized to make necessary grammatical changes. Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, on legislation 0144-20, legislation has been, second reading has been read into record. With that, we're board on the main motion. Vote.
And I'm thinking based on that, what size and how it should be stationed where.
Okay. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay did not vote. Honorable P. Allen Begay Jr.
I vote green. Can you hear me? This is Delegate McGay.
Honorable Elmer Begay votes green. Honorable P. Allen Begay Jr. Honorable P. Allen Begay Jr. Honorable P. Allen Begay Jr. did not vote. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. did not vote. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Regina Charles Newman. Honorable Regina Charles Newman. Honorable Regina Charles Newman did not vote. Honorable Amber Knusbach-Claudy. Honorable Amber Knusbach-Claudy votes green. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Mark Freeland.
Freeland votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Mark Freeland votes green. Honorable Pernell Halona.
Halona votes green.
Honorable Pernell Halona votes green. Honorable Jamie Henyo.
Henyo votes green.
Honorable Jamie Henyo votes green. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate Vince James votes green.
Honorable Vince James votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez votes green.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Carl Slater.
Delegate Slater green.
Honorable Carl Slater votes green. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Green.
Raymond Smith Jr. did not. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr.
Green.
Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. votes green. Honorable Charlene So.
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Daniel So.
Daniel So votes green.
Honorable Daniel So votes green. Honorable Eugene So.
Honorable
Eugene So votes green. Honorable Otto So.
I vote green.
Honorable Otto So votes green. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr.
Thomas Walker votes green.
Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. votes green. Honorable Edison Winika. Honorable
Green.
Edison Winika. Honorable Edison Winika votes green. Honorable Edwin Yazzie. Honorable Edwin Yazzie. Honorable Edwin Yazzie did not vote. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair.
I vote green.
Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Going back up. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr. did not vote. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay
votes
Jr.
green.
votes green. Honorable Regina Charles
Delegate
Newton.
Kealan Begay votes
Honorable
green.
Regina Charles Newton.
Charles Newton votes green.
Honorable Regina Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie did not vote. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr.
Delegate Calvin Gay Jr. votes green.
Honorable Calvin McGee.
Who's on the council? That, colleagues, the time now is 9:59. Moving on down. Announcements. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, go ahead.
I'll just waive it.
That time now is 10 o'clock. Going into council session. Colleagues, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Thomas Walker. Motion.
Second
Vice Chair Smith.
Speaking by Madam Chair Charles Newman. That roll call vote on adjourning.
Honorable Almer Begay. Honorable Almer Begay. Almer Begay did not vote. Honorable Almer Begay Jr. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown votes green.
Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bakrati. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bakrati. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bakrati votes green. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Mark Freeland.
Green.
Honorable Mark Freeland votes green. Honorable Pernell Halona.
Votes green.
Honorable Pernell Halona votes green. Honorable Jamie Henue.
votes green.
Honorable Jamie Henue. Honorable Jamie Henue votes green. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James votes green.
Honorable Vince James votes green. Honorable Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez votes green.
Honorable Ricky Nez votes green. Honorable Carl Slater.
Delegate Slater green.
Honorable Carl Slater votes green. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Green.
Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr.
Green.
Honorable Wilson Stewart. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. votes green. Honorable Charlene So.
I vote green.
Honorable Daniel So.
Daniel So votes green.
Honorable Daniel So votes green. Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So.
I vote
Honorable
green
Eugene.
too.
Honorable Eugene So votes green. Honorable Otto So.
I vote green.
Honorable Otto So votes green. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr.
Thomas Walker votes green.
Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. votes green. Honorable Edison Wanika. Honorable Edison Wanika. Honorable Edison Wanika did not vote. Honorable Edwin Yazzie.
Green.
Honorable Edmund Yazzie votes green. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not vote. Going back. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Almer Begay.
I vote green.
Honorable Almer Begay votes green. Honorable Edison Wanika.
Green.
Honorable Edison Wanika votes green. With that, Mr. Speaker, you have a vote of 23 in favor and 0 opposed. Mr. Speaker.
That was great. Opposed, right there.